The French presidential election is now just a few days away as the country prepares to go to the polls this Sunday. The top two favourites are the incumbent president, Emmanuel Macron, and the far-right challenger, Marine Le Pen. And in the latest, the top two contenders are battling over pension reforms in the country. Opinion polls have long predicted Macron will win a second term, but Marine Le Pen has tightened the gap thanks to a campaign focused on purchasing power, on which she doubled down recently. Plus, she's been attacking the sitting president on his use of private consultants in his presidential campaign.
Mais nous ne voulons pas que l'Allemagne décide. Nous avons une haute administration qui est parmi les plus réputées du monde. Une haute administration pétrie du sens de l'État et de l'intérêt public. Une haute administration d'une parfaite neutralité politique dont on dit, à juste titre, qu'ils sont des grands serviteurs de l'État. Pourquoi ce choix de l'ignorer pour choisir des consultants extérieurs à plusieurs milliers d'euros, plusieurs milliers d'euros la journée, hein.
The government's use of private consultants has emerged as a surprise issue in the presidential campaign, and Macron is facing tough questions on spending taxpayers' money on international firms that pay little or no taxes in the country. But the president and his ministers have denied any wrongdoing. Another major issue in the country is pension reforms. Macron faced stiff resistance after increasing the retirement age from 62 to 64 in December 2019. Now Le Pen wants to keep the 62-year-old threshold and bring it down even further to 60 for those who started working before the age of 20. But Macron argues that raising the retirement age was needed to make the system viable and increase low pensions. After entering the election campaign last month, the president vowed that he would increase the retirement age, cut taxes and further loosen labour market rules, seeking a mandate to press on with pro-business reforms. But even if Macron does win a second mandate, polls still expect the issue of pension reform to be a problem, considering how widespread the opposition is. Well, our correspondent Ross Cullen joins us now live from Paris. Ross, there's been strong international reaction today to images of mass killings in Bucha in Ukraine. But what have the French presidential candidates been saying about that situation on the ground there?
Hi, Laura. The President Emmanuel Macron reacted to the pictures of what has been taking place in Bucha this morning. He was saying that it is unbearable, it is intolerable, it's a war crime what's been going on, and if there are suspicions of crimes against humanity or war crimes taking place there, then there must be investigations. All individuals responsible must be held to account. He said that what has been taking place there has prompted him to argue that he will be speaking to European partners, especially Germany. He said this week he will be arguing in favour of new European Union sanctions to be imposed on Russia, perhaps focusing on Russian oil and Russian gas being brought into Europe. So they are the words of Emmanuel Macron, saying that he would look to push for further restrictive measures from Brussels being imposed on Moscow. We did also hear from Eric Zemmour this morning. He is another extreme right challenger. He is somebody who's challenging Marine Le Pen for battle space on the far right of France's politics. He also said that what has been taking place there in Bucha is criminal, and he feels for the people of Ukraine. He has come under pressure because he, in the past, Eric Zemmour, has argued that France needs a French Vladimir Putin to sort itself out. He has been strongly in favour of Moscow in the past, arguing that France needs to abandon its close ties to the United States, pursue a more non-aligned path halfway between Washington and Moscow. So he's come under pressure there. And also, you mentioned in the introduction, Laura, Marine Le Pen. Well, she had to throw away 1.2 million campaign leaflets last month because she had featured a colour splash photo of her shaking hands with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now she doesn't see that image of her shaking hands with the man who launched an invasion of Ukraine as such a vote-winning policy, to throwing away 1 million leaflets she had already had printed. So there is is there are problems for the candidates on the far right and also the far left. Jean-Luc Mélenchon has previously argued that France should leave NATO, and he has been praising in the past the actions of Russian President Vladimir Putin. So problems for people in the far left and far right of French politics and how to navigate the ongoing war in Ukraine.
And Ross, we are now just 6 days out from that first round of voting. So how are the candidates placed?
Yeah, Sunday the 10th of April, that date in your diary, Laura, is the first round of the French presidential election. If nobody gets a majority, and that's how we think the polls are looking at the moment, if no one gets a majority in the first round, then the top two candidates will go through to a runoff vote 2 weeks later on the 24th of April, a straight head-to-head fight for the Elysee Palace. There are 12 candidates who can run in that first round, taking place in 6 days' time on Sunday. From the major players like incumbent President Emmanuel Macron trying to continue to hold the centre ground in French politics. The centre-left socialists with the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, running for them. The centre-right conservatives, the party of Jacques Chirac and Nicolas Sarkozy. Valérie Pécresse is running for the Conservative Republicans. We've already mentioned the far-right rivals, Marine Le Pen and Eric Zemmour. On the far left, we have disparate groups. We have, along with the socialists, if you go further past them, Laurie, you get to the far left, then you have the communists, then you have the anti-capitalists, then you have the workers' fight party. So 4 different groups battling, along with the socialists, for a space on the left-hand side of French politics. So a lot of candidates, 12 of them going up against each other this Sunday. The top two will go through to that next runoff vote. As you mentioned, it looks at the moment as though Emmanuel Macron, the incumbent, will manage to get through to the runoff vote, and likely that he will be joined again by Marine Le Pen of the National Rally Party. That was the 2017 head-to-head, which Emmanuel Macron won comfortably. The polls are closing now. He did receive a bounce, this rally round the flag effect, after the war in Ukraine started, as the incumbent, showing that he was leading diplomacy with the United States, with the European Union, and speaking regularly to Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky.
Ross Cullen in Paris with the latest on the French election there. Thank you, Ross.